All right, so today we are going to learn how to put together a listing template in ZipForms. Next Tuesday, we're doing the purchase template. The Tuesday after that, we're doing the lease template. Are you all on your ZipForms? Or close to there? Okay. And this is going to be review for some of you. If you have questions, interrupt me at any time. We will get to it. So when you want to start ZipForms, you log into CAR and then you go to this little button that says Continue to ZipForms. And you get a new window. So you see there's a tab for a window here. This is the new tab that is opening right now.
Can I just interrupt for a second?
Yeah, please do. Absolutely.
On a lot of Windows machines, especially the ones here, it opens an entirely new window.
Ah,
so
okay.
People shouldn't get confused by that, because I watch people then
it's
start closing windows and trying to add tabs to the window that you can't add to. And
exactly, because it'll be an overlay.
Yes.
So just minimize what you're in,
correct.
and that'll
Thank
take
you.
you back to your other stuff.
Thank you.
No, thank you, Mark. You can see that when you first go into ZipForms, it is going to default to your transactions. You can tell where you're at on this screen by looking up at the top here. It says Dashboard, Transactions, Templates, Tasks, etc. The area highlighted in green is where you're at. We are at Transactions. This is not where you want to be to do a template. You need to change to templates, and you go right here to do that. You can see that it highlights in green when you hover over it with your mouse. Click on templates. Everyone has done that, I hope? Okay. If you don't have a listing template, you can see I have 4 templates. I have a listing, a lease, single family resident purchase, and a condo purchase. If you don't have anything, you're going to start new. So that's what you would do. If you have a listing template already in place and you want to revise it, we can do that. Frankly, I think it is more efficient to just start a new one. So I have gone through my listing template and made sure that it is updated to everything that I want to have in it. You guys are going to start new, and I will show you how to bring in all, hi Crystal, show you how to bring in all of the forms that you need to bring in. So right here, and I apologize, got a little tickle in the throat. New template, it says select a template type to get started. If it's not already abundantly clear, we're going to do a new listing template. So click on new listing. Right here, put in whatever you want. I suggest listing. Make it simple, make it easy, but make it so that you understand what it is. For us, we're going to call this our class listing template. Is that somebody's phone I didn't hear?
That's the office.
Over there? Okay, cool.
Charge the office.
So that's the 2-minute warning for you guys. If I hear a phone, you have to pay $5 to KW Cares. It is a very worthy cause. For this one, it's going to be property type residential, so you select that. Under here where it says auto apply, you want to change this to automatically apply this template to listing residential new transactions. That's all you need to do at the moment. Right here, this would be if you were setting up a template within a template. Don't confuse yourself, you don't need to do that. So you click the save button, and now we have a new template. It says right here, you are currently modifying a listing template. Click here if you want to create a new listing transaction. This is new. ZipForms did not used to have this warning show up. Evidently, a lot of people were going into templates and using them as transactions. You know of some of those people, Mark?
I do. I'm one of them.
So they have given you a little bit of a message here so that you can tell that you are in a template instead of in a transaction. So everybody needs to go up to this button that says All Forms. You are going to bring in your forms now for your listing. Expand the arrow, click on the arrow, the darker blue. You can see right here, this is the library that we are in, California Association of Realtors. If you expand this window, you see a lot of other libraries that drop down. We're going to go into one of these other libraries at the end of pulling in the rest of our forms for the template. So, the first thing you need to put into your template is your cover sheet. Click on Cover Sheet. You see the yellow box here, Form, Cover Sheet was successfully added. You see down here that the cover sheet has been added into your template area, but your library bar here is still up. If that was the only form you were going to add, you need to click the red X box in order to close the library and go into the template itself. You don't need to do that at the moment. We are going to add the residential listing agreement, which is the next one down underneath cover sheet. You do not need anything else here. If you scroll down, you can see that this is in alphabetical order. You do need an agent visual inspection disclosure, so please add the AVID into your template.
Number one.
We just need to do number one. We don't need to do 2, 3, and 4.
No, you just need the agent visual inspection disclosure one. I'm not really sure why CAR in their infinite wisdom has 4 or 5 different visual inspection disclosures. They do that quite a lot. You see also with the addendum, I can see where it might come in more handy for the addendum. Clearly, you can have more than one addendum per any transaction. But the AVID is generally only going to be 1 AVID per agent per transaction.
Maybe a 2 listing agent.
It's just largely there for sequential revisions.
It could be Eric, yeah, Eric said it could be if there were co-listing agents. I don't,
Could be that too.
at the moment, you only need 1 AVID per agent per transaction. If there's a co-listing agent, I don't think they need to do an AVID. The AVID is one of those interesting forms that CAR has in our library, but CAR has not told us that the AVID is a requirement yet. It's a requirement for our office. And when you read through your residential purchase agreement, you will find, I believe it's 4, possibly 5 references within the body of the 10-page purchase agreement that stipulates each agent is to perform a visual inspection of the property. So they reference the AVID, but it's not technically a required form at the moment. Let's go through here. I think it should be.
Any additional?
We do not need any of these yet. These will all come into play later on. And in fact, let's just do this quickly for you guys, rather than watching me scroll through and try to find everything for you. Let's go up here. Let's go back to the list. I'm going to have you look at my listing template. This is much easier for you guys, okay? So go into your library. You're in your library. You're not where I'm at here. You're going to go into your library. You see the first form you're pulling in is the cover sheet. These are not necessarily in alphabetical order. I will show you that later. Go ahead and pull in, we did already, residential listing agreement. Pull in your DIA. So search under D. If you just scroll down to D, you'll see the DIA. This is a new form, disclosure information advisory. Yeah, Wendy?
Can you blow that up a little larger? Is that possible?
Good question. I don't think it is. I don't see a full screen option on here.
I think
And
there's some
is there a control or something?
Come on, the plus, maybe.
let's
It's a
see.
Microsoft keyboard.
Yeah, so,
With your mouse,
Control plus?
control and move the wheel on the mouse.
What's the function we're trying to do?
Make it
larger-
larger.
make the
Oh.
screen bigger, I don't think it's a possibility.
Control it with
No,
with your
it's in
mouse.
the,
Is there up here?
yeah,
Do.
Zoom.
Okay, let's zoom in.
Go to the right. If you click the box to the extreme right, it should full screen it.
Oh, that's good.
Is that better for you guys?
Yeah, that's better.
We'll be able to
Okay.
read it when you scroll down a bit.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's
Is that
good.
good? Okay, sweet, great, learn something new every day. Okay, so we've got the cover sheet, residential listing agreement, disclosure information advisory. Pop in your agent visual inspection, we already did that, so you've got that. Pop in your lead-based paint, and this is your FLD. So go ahead and bring this in. This is your, right here, you see how I'm hovering over, I can see the name of the form, the entire name of the form, the date the form was last revised. The acronym for that form is FLD. So lead-based paint does not start with an L, it starts with an F. Yeah, Kate?
I just wanted to mention, to make it a little bit easier for people, when you go into the little search bar, you don't have to scroll through everything, you can just type in
type
FLD
those-
and it'll come up.
Thank you, appreciate
Just
it,
to save
absolutely,
time.
especially for right now, because we want to try and get all of these forms into your template, and then we'll fiddle around with them. You need to also bring in your SBSA, Statewide Buyer and Seller Advisory. You need to bring in your seller property questionnaire, your real estate transfer disclosure statement. This bugged me for the longest time. I can't tell you how many years I looked for the TDS under R because it's a real estate transfer disclosure statement. The acronym for this form is only TDS. Because you're representing the seller, you are going to go on the basis that you will be receiving offers on this property. You are going to need to counter those offers, so bring in your seller counter offer #1 form.
What's the abbreviation?
SCO. You may also, if you wish, want to bring in the SMCO, seller multiple counter offer. I do not have that in my template because I can count on one hand the number of times I've needed to use it in any given transaction that we represent the seller on. If you guys find that you are doing multiple counter offers, go ahead and bring that in. This whole idea of a template is to personalize it for you, not for me. So it's for your use. I'm just sort of facilitating the fact that you can do this. So seller counteroffer #1 is all I need. I also know that when you represent the seller as the listing agent, you are responsible for the buyer removing contingencies. Buyer's agents typically don't initiate contingency removals. Bring in your contingency removal form. You also know that you need the verification of property condition. Unlike contingency removals, buyer's agents typically do initiate the VP. However, I like to have it in my template because I want to make sure I don't forget that I need it. And if for some reason a buyer's agent does not initiate the verification of property condition during the buyer's final walkthrough, I have it here very easily at my fingertips, ready to go. While we are still in the ZipForms library, sorry?
What is the?
What's that home energy one?
I'll get there, don't get ahead of me, I'll get there. When we're still in the ZipForms library, just because I'm one of those sort of stupid, uber efficient, control freak, OCD people, I like to prepare for the eventuality that we may need a cancellation of listing form. So I bring in the cancellation of listing form. I have it here, it's the very last form. I'll show you how to organize your forms shortly. Cancellation of listing, we don't use it very often, but there are times that we do, and I like to have it in my template in case I need it. Okay, So have you all got those forms in your listing? All right, now we're going to go up and you,
Do you use the MCA frequently, or you don't?
market conditions advisory
For the listing
in the
part?
purchase agreement. I have my MCA in the purchase agreement
Not
template,
for the
not my
listing part?
listing, no.
Can I see the bottom?
Going back to the rest of the bottom.
Yeah, sorry,
There's a 1 through 6.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to
Okay,
those.
that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, that's a different library.
Ah.
That's why I said don't get ahead of me. So I will show you how to change libraries. If you guys would like to pull in the market conditions advisory, go right ahead and do it. I will show you how. You go here, all forms. As Kate said, search by the form name and it pulls it right up for you and you can add it in. Right here we see form market conditions advisory successfully added. It's a good disclosure. Nothing wrong with using it. If you're going to use it, go ahead and pull it in now. Now, in order to get those other forms, we need to change libraries. So you expand your arrow, go up to your California Association of Realtors box, click that down arrow, and you're going to go to the California ePubs. Okay? Are you all there?
California.
We don't do this often. It's a good habit to get into so that you know what other libraries you can pull forms from. Click on ePubs, and we have to get rid of the MCA because MCA is not one of those forms.
Thank you.
So right here are those other forms that you saw in my listing agreement. 1 of 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of 6, the cybercrime flyer and the water conservation flyer. Go ahead and bring these all into your template. You have to do them one at a time. Where are they? Did you go to your ePub? Go down to ePubs.
I did too.
Click on. Oh, is it a touchscreen? Sorry. Okay, so you are. Oh yes, there you go. Now they'll show up. So bring in these. So click on each one of them so that they go in. Okay. You guys all have those in? Are we all good? You can close the library. You can change it if you wish. Good question right here. I'm going to close it and then I'm going to go back into it and see if it defaults. Yes, it just goes back to the library that you were in before, so you may want to go ahead and go back into your California Association Realtor library before you close out this window, this tab on the right. Now, you have all of these forms. These forms right here are our, they go along with the residential, the natural hazard zone disclosure report. Some of this information is in the NHD report, some of it isn't. It is important primarily for buyers. Why do I have it in my listing? Because I want to make sure that if the buyer's agent does not disseminate this very important information to their client, I do it on behalf of the sellers. Because as I've said many times, as a real estate agent, it is your job to do everyone else's job. Okay? So that way you don't get into trouble, you don't get into suits, you know what needs to be done, and you can take care of it, you can at least monitor it to make certain that it is being done properly. So you have your residential environmental hazards, protect your family from lead. However you want to put these in, go right ahead. Now, we're going to get to organizing your template.
Can you see the bottom? Because
How did
I
you
don't,
check?
okay.
How did you do the check?
How did I do?
There's all a check.
Where are they checked? I don't see that they're checked.
Right.
Up at the top here?
Yeah.
Right
Yeah,
there?
that one.
They're just all blue because we are in here.
No, when you
If you
hover
have-
over them, they turn that way.
Right here, yeah. I thought you meant
Because it's
this.
blown up.
So this more actions, say you brought something in that you didn't want to have in, hover over that arrow and you can remove it. You can preview it, you can change it, you can save it as a PDF, you can download it. So each form is interactive in and of itself. Let's go ahead and say,
What is the very
because
last one?
the MCA, Market Conditions Advisory. So now, because, you know, you all want to be as anal retentive and OCD and organized as me, you're going to organize your files, your forms in your template. Typically, I organize things in the manner in which they are going to be used. So that's what works for me. I don't know what works for you. Maybe alphabetical works better for you. I don't know. These forms are used, unfortunately, not in alphabetical order. I don't know, a car didn't decide that's how they wanted to name them. So I always start off with my cover sheet as the first form in any of my templates. If you go to this button, Organize, go ahead and click on it. We'll see how this changes your form. You see how it says Done Organizing, changes your template rather. Let's go up and say we want to include the Market Conditions Advisory in with our listing agreement. So we're going to pop this up and you can see, damn, we've run out of room, it doesn't go any further. So let's leave it there for the moment and then we'll scroll up a little further. And then we pull it up again. Let's pop it up into here. Okay. So now you have, and I'm going to switch this around because I feel like the DIA, Disclosure Information Advisory, is somewhat more important than the Market Conditions Advisory, based essentially on my decision, because this DIA form is the more recent of the two forms. That's the way I look at things. CAR just came out with this DIA form. The Market Conditions Advisory form was last revised in 2011, 7-8 years ago. Evidently, CAR has decided the information is still relevant today and they don't need to revise this form, or perhaps this form just has fallen out of use to some extent. Nevertheless, the information contained within that form is good to make your clients aware of. Talks about market conditions, how they fluctuate and change over time. So, I have done some organizing. You guys are more than welcome to organize your forms in the same manner that I do mine. Residential listing agreement. First form, Disclosure Information Advisory, Market Conditions Advisory. Now I go kind of into alphabetical order with my disclosures. Agent Visual Inspection Disclosure, Lead-Based Paint Disclosure. Again, if this, granted we're in a template, guys, we're not in a transaction. If we were in a transaction and this property was built in 1988, I would be going into the FLD and I would take it out. I would just get rid of it because I don't need it for that particular transaction. However, it's good to have in your template because if you are representing a seller in a home that was built prior to 1978, you will already have it there. Statewide buyer and seller, your seller property questionnaire, your TDS. Now I'm going into the forms that are going to be used when we get an offer in this property. Seller counteroffer, contingency removal, verification of property condition. Then I put in the EPUB directory forms in whatever order I happen to put them in. I actually did not order these very much at all. So you guys put them in however you want. I think I just did numerical order. 1 of 6, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 6. Cybercrime C comes before W. So we've got that, and then the very last form, cancellation of listing, because we don't use it often, but if we need to use it, it's there. When you are done organizing, you click this button, Done Organizing. And you can see that it has saved. Now, has it saved it correctly? I will tell you, right now, I'm looking at my top line. Something is not right. I don't know why, but CAR does this. And I have now come to realize that it is more of, it's just a glitch. It's a glitch that happens every time. The first time you organize, it does not save. So,
What the heck?
I know. The first time you do this, it does not save. The second time you do it, it will save it. So now I have to go back down here. Yep, Market Conditions Advisory. Son of a gun. What, I just moved it, didn't I? You guys saw me move it, right? I did move it. I'm not hallucinating. I'm not an idiot.
It's their version of the "Are you sure?" question.
Okay, so let's start that all over again. Let's click Organize. And then we're going to go back down to Market Conditions Advisory. We're going to grab that. We're going to do this whole gyration all over again. It's a good thing we only moved one form. Okay, where the heck did it go now?
Well, I'm glad you're having trouble, because so am I.
It's okay. We all,
While she's doing this, can I just
please
throw
do.
something in?
Yeah, let me
For all of
find
you
it.
that don't have one, do yourselves a gigantic favor and go buy a mouse.
Yes. mouse.
Because for those of you with laptops where you're
I couldn't find my mouse.
using the touchpad to move things, sometimes the computer wants to scroll, sometimes it doesn't. You'll wind up dropping things in weird places. It's hard enough on this where you're organizing, but it's really hard when you're trying to do e-signatures. And you're trying to drag the little signature and the little initial checkbox around. Just $10, buy a mouse.
Okay.
Everybody that resists me on it, that finally does it, always says, "Oh my God, it's life-changing." So.
It'll save you carpal tunnels. I mean, guys, doing this little thing with
No, I didn't mind.
with the pad is ridiculous. So I finally found my Market Conditions Advisory. It went where I didn't expect it to go, and I have saved it. Rather, I put it where I want it, and I'm going to hit Done Organizing for the second time. And yes, everything. And guess what? It stays. Huzzah! So the first time. So if you're in my class, you guys are one of the 20 people now that can say, you know, one of the bizarre glitches of ZipForms. And from now on, when you're organizing something, because you can organize forms within a transaction itself, same glitch happens all the time. The first time you organize something, it does not save it. The second time you do. So take a hint from me, guys. Learn from my mistakes. Don't organize 20 forms within a transaction and then hit Done Organizing, because if you're on the first iteration of organizing your forms, it won't save. Move one form, hit Done Organizing, start over and do it again, and you're good to go. Can't tell you how many times I just did not realize that. So that's what we're all about here, learning from other people's mistakes.
You stop organizing after each form?
Yeah.
Or can you, you can move one form over
And save it.
and then save it and it
And
doesn't
see if it
save
saves
it?
it,
But then
right.
can I do 20 forms
Yeah.
or just?
Yeah, you can do as many as you want that second time, and it should
Okay.
save it. I say this, it should save it, because this is what has happened to me a number of times over and over and over again. However, CAR has bizarre glitches within all over. So we are good. We have our template. We have our template nicely organized so that it is all set up the way we need it. Now, you may see on this page, and I'm going to go back to our standard resolution just so that you can see all of it at the same time. We have done our template. There is no save button on here. There is no place to save this template. Don't give yourself the heebie-jeebies. Don't have a coronary. It's okay. All you have to do is hit back and it automatically saves it. You can see right here up in the control bar, add folder, move folder, da. There is no save button. You can spend your whole life looking for one, you won't find it. Just hit back to list. Now, I know it freaks me out because I want to save something before I leave the screen. So I'm like, oh no, all that work for nothing. You hit back to list. You are now in your template dashboard. You can see this. Here are your templates. Here is the class listing template. And if we, oh, sorry. That one doesn't have anything in it. I'm looking at it like, shoot, why the heck does that say modified 23 minutes ago? Because it's not the one I was actually modifying. So here is the one I was modifying, just my standard listing template. And everything is good. We've got our cover sheet, listing agreement, disclosure, information advisory. We added in the MCA. We're good to go. You now have a listing template. Does everyone have a listing template? No.
Addendum never got in there.
Oh. Add a form, just hit X for now. Just X out of that up at the red, at the top. Yeah, or close. Okay, close the form library. Okay. Mark or myself can make sure that your template is correct after the class. Take me 2 seconds.
Cynthia?
Keller Williams, yeah, Fred?
Sorry. If a document gets updated through the year, will the template get updated automatically?
Yes, sir, it does. Good thing, never used to. Up until about, I think, 6 months, maybe 8 months ago, ZipForms did not automatically update the templates. My templates have been automatically updated with all of the new forms, the 1218 revision forms. Everything that was revised is now revised in my template. However, since we're starting off the new year, we've got lots of revised forms. Starting off with new templates is a good thing, but I've verified that all of my forms did change when they changed over. So, Jeff Brittany or Keller Williams addendum. No, there is no Keller Williams addendum, and you must have a Keller Williams addendum with all of your files. Keep the latest revision of the Keller Williams addendum, a blank form, on your desktop. It's a PDF form. You download it from the intranet. Keep it on your desktop so that when you go into a listing appointment, you have all of your contracts and your Keller Williams addendum ready to be signed. Does that answer that question? Unfortunately, ZipForms, it costs a lot of money to import forms into ZipForms. I tried saving off a Keller Williams addendum as a PDF within ZipForms. It took me, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours for me to try and fiddle with that and get it into one of my templates, and it doesn't do it. So don't waste your time doing it. Just keep it on your desktop. Make sure that you know whenever you take a listing, whenever you are representing a buyer on a purchase, you start filling out that Keller Williams addendum and include it with your packet that you're going in to have signed. Just as an aside, we did add another form. It's the exclusive properties escrow affiliated business disclosure. You do not need that with listings. You do need it with purchases. If the escrow is going to be exclusive properties escrow, and it should be, you want to make sure that that goes along with your counter offer. You're representing the seller. A buyer comes in with an offer. You need to make sure that you counter that the Keller Williams addendum is included, that the exclusive properties escrow affiliated business disclosure is included, along with whatever forms you also are going to need to have included. If your property is in the name of a trust, you need the buyer to sign the trust advisory. If when it's in the name of a trust, you also have the RCSD-S. So there are a lot of forms, and you know, maybe one day we just need to do a counter offer class, how to counter, and you guys bring me offers and I will show you how to counter them. So we might work that in at some point. So now, good, huzzah, we have a listing template. We don't have a transaction yet. Let's go to our transactions. This is the first screen that you get when you go into ZipForms. So you have this. Now you're going to take a listing. You need to put this into a transaction. you are going to apply the template. So, you're taking a listing. I do this whenever I put a listing presentation together for Robert. He goes on a listing appointment, copy of the contract goes with him. I do new. And here, remember, it says new transaction, select a transaction type to get started, not select a template type to get started, which is what we had before. It is a new listing. Okay. So, let's just go 1, 2, 3 Main Street to make it easy on ourselves. It is a residential listing. Here, where it says select template, you're going to do the drop down on this. We are not going to do the class listing template because it's incomplete. We are going to choose my listing template because my listing template is filled out and the way I need it to be and the way you're going to fill yours out. So we apply the listing template. Whatever name you wanted to call it, you apply that listing template. You'll see it show up right here. Okay, so it's opened up. Now you go into documents. You don't need to fill anything out here if you don't want to. It's not terribly necessary at the moment. I want you to get used to filling out your cover sheet. Documents. Everything that we had in our template is now reflected in this transaction for 1, 2, 3 Main Street. Should be showing up somewhere here, right up at the top here. This is the transaction we are in, 1, 2, 3 Main Street. So, everybody should have this screen on their computers if you got your computer, right? You do? Excellent. That's great. Okay,
Can I
now,
stop you for 1 second?
I think I already know what you're
Go
gonna
ahead.
say. Let's just rewind a little bit. Let's rewind a little bit. You can go directly into your templates from here. Okay, everybody click on your template button. Yeah, are we all back? Okay. Go to your listing, please. Go to your listing template. Go to your cover sheet within your template. This is a huge time saver. Right here. Go to your cover sheet within your template, please. You have your cover sheet is 4 pages. You can put in lots of information, but don't fill in information that is transaction specific. Transaction specific would be a property address, would be buyers or sellers' names. Okay? What doesn't change every time you do a transaction? That's what you want to fill into your template cover sheet, because this is what's going to go into every transaction when you apply this template to a listing transaction. Again, we're going to do this all over again for purchases and leases. Right now we're talking about listings. The majority of Robert's listings are in Simi Valley, which is always in Ventura, California, with a zip code of generally 93065. This information I have already put into my template, in my cover sheet, because this information is generally always the same. I can change it if need be, but most of the time I don't have to change it. What you're doing with a template is saving you time. What you're doing with your cover sheet is saving you even more time, because the information that you put in here will automatically be populated to the cover sheet that you apply to any transaction. Right here, property types, generally residential, so I already have that box checkmarked. Escrow information, always our escrow. If you need our escrow information, let's go up here and I'll make this bigger for you so you guys can start filling this out. Okay. So you are on page 2 of 4. You see it right here, page 2 of 4. Escrow information. It's at the very bottom of page 2. Fill out this information, please. Shouldn't take too long to do that. Exclusive Properties Escrow is the name of our escrow. Escrow number, clearly you don't know that. You do know the address. This address does not change. None of this information changes from transaction to transaction. It's always the same. Fill it out now if you please. Email address for escrow, staff at EP Escrow. Phone 805-915-5124. Fax 805-306-1735. Did you have a question?
No, I was taking a picture.
Okay, no worries.
Aren't they, isn't it Suite 110?
Mail comes to Suite 150 for escrow. Yes, technically their physical location is Suite 110, but we don't have things mailed to escrow at
Okay.
Suite 110. It
All
only
right.
goes to 150. Okay? Are we all good with escrow?
No.
Getting there?
Don't we need the escrow officer's license?
No, escrow, no, you don't need it. I know I don't like empty spaces either, but we don't need to put that in.
Escrow.com.
Clearly, you don't have the escrow number yet. You don't have closing dates, you don't have deposit amounts.
Yeah.
Stuff at
Staff, yeah, STAFF at epescrow.com. EP, of course, standing for Exclusive Properties.
I have to double check.
Okay. We're gonna go into page 3. Obviously, you don't have the buyer's broker information, you don't have an offer. So, this is the top of page 3 of our cover sheet. Leave all of this information blank. However, the information that never changes is the seller's broker information, and that's your guys' information. So, type this in to seller's broker firm name, Keller Williams Realty Exclusive Properties, or you can just go Keller Williams Exclusive Properties, however you want to. The license number for the office, 015-16415. Address, all of that information. When it comes down to seller's agent name, put your name in here, please. Don't put Robert's name. Your name goes there. Your license number goes there. God, if you have a pager, throw it out. Phone numbers, your fax, your email, all of your information goes there. This is a huge time saver, guys, because all of this information gets automatically populated to every form in your transaction. Let me know if you need any more time on that. Pretty much, I think, okay. On page 4, disclosure information. I always use the same disclosure company on every transaction, so I fill that in as well. Because we don't always know whether we're going to have termite, that does not get filled in. Home warranty typically is the buyer's choice, so I don't fill that in. I use First American NHD, FANHD for NHD report. This is their information. We use Carolyn Braun. Homeowners Association, you're not going to know that either. You probably have the name of the Homeowners Association, but this is not fixed information per transaction. So anything that is going to change per a transaction, you don't fill in because you just don't know it.
Can you go back to Carolyn Braun's?
Yeah, sure. We're in our template. So the information in our template is the information that is going to always stay the same. And this is what you're filling out. If you're not sure, you guys are filling out the template cover sheet, your listing template cover sheet. This is where this information is going in, and then we're going to pop back into our transaction. I'm going to show you something really cool.
What was
the
it?
address, 5915?
5315 Driftwood Street, number 2 in Oxnard, 93035. Question?
What was the office license number again? Was it 151?
015-16415. Yes, I have memorized that one.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, so on your cover sheet, let's just scroll upwards from page 4. you have your disclosure information on there. On page 3, you have your information under seller's broker information. On page 2, you have exclusive properties escrow information under escrow. You've notated it's a residential property type. And if you want, you can notate Simi Valley, Ventura, California 93065 as your property information. Now, we're all good. Again, I don't have to save this because it's a template. I just have to hit back and it will be saved. So we are there. We're going to go back over to transactions. We're going to go into our, okay guys, so now do me a favor. You'll learn really quickly. Delete that transaction that you set up before, okay? So your 123 Main Street, go up here and delete it. Get rid of it, throw it away. Gone, it's done. Yes, we really want to delete it. Okay. So, have we all deleted that one? And I'm sure some of you know why we are deleting it. And we're going to start a new one. So, new transaction, it's a new listing. Let's go ahead and pop in the address, and you guys put in whatever address you want. It's always kind of a good idea since you're going to be having your computers with you when I start teaching the listing class, we'll be using this template in our listing transaction class when we go over listing contracts. So if you all want to save it now, just keep it and it will go with you throughout all of our classes, our contracts classes. So we're going to go 123 Main Street. We're going to say it's a residential. And you're going to select template. Go ahead and apply the template that we just revised. For me, it's the listing template. And now you hit save. We're going to go back up, and here it opens up this screen, which again, I'm not really a fan of this screen at the moment when you're just learning templates. Don't worry about it. What you need to do is go into documents, okay, from this screen, and it's hard for you guys to see it because this is not the way it looks on your computer because we're all zoomed in. So let's go back to the normal zoom. This is the way it looks on your screen. Don't worry about any of this. Go to documents. You see the little tab from summary, which is where we are at now. There are parties, documents, checklist, notes, history. Go to documents. And here are our documents. Now, I hope all this is going to work, right? Go to your cover sheet in your new transaction of 123 Main Street. Pull up your cover sheet, and I want to make sure that you guys all have your information in your cover sheet already populated. You have now just saved yourself about 10 minutes per transaction. Every transaction you do, every listing you take, will have this information already put into it. Yeah, Terry?
So you just generated a new transaction, right?
Yep.
Why didn't you just, couldn't you just, because I just applied the template
Apply to the other one?
to the other one.
Oh, I guess you could do that too.
Okay,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah,
Why?
I don't want to confuse
No
people.
problem. Okay, thanks.
So, but you
It just seemed obvious when I went back to the page, I'm like, well, I can just hit apply.
a new
That's-
template,
okay.
yes, yeah, it definitely
And
works.
it warns you, you
Yeah,
know.
that you're gonna overwrite
Yeah,
something,
exactly, right.
so, yeah, exactly. So now, we've got all of our pertinent, unchanging information in here, and we are not learning about contracts, but if you go, just as an exercise, go to your residential listing agreement within this transaction, go up to your, you know how our listing agreements start, they start with the agency disclosure, which we all know has changed as of 12/18. the PRBS, the wire fraud advisory, what I want you to do is go to your RLA, and I want you to see where it says Keller Williams Realty Exclusive Properties. You did not type any of that in, did you? Nope, you didn't type that in. If you go to page, like I say, there's a lot of information in here that I will discuss when we talk about filling out a listing contract. Right now, we have Keller Williams Realty Exclusive Properties. All of this is from your cover sheet. Now, just so you know, if you choose to do something, in fact, in your residential, in your listing template, highly recommend that you go into the RLA within the template itself, okay? Not in a transaction. Go into the RLA within the template and add this verbiage. I'm gonna make it bigger so you can all see. Yeah. So right here, add this verbiage into your residential listing agreement template. Your listing template in the actual RLA contract. We're not talking cover sheet anymore, guys. We're talking the actual contract itself. Go into the contract within the template and add this verbiage: pursuant to the attached Keller Williams addendum, $250 paid by seller to Keller Williams Realty Exclusive Properties for file archiving fee payable through close of escrow. That needs to be in every one of your listing agreements. This is on page 4 of your 5-page RLA, paragraph 16. Sure, no, absolutely. Okay.
Hold on.
That's okay, no worries. You know, I'm actually like physically here about 50 hours a week, so you can always call me up. My extension's 5123. If you're not sure or you couldn't find it, let me know and I'll be more than happy to let you know what this is and where it needs to go.
Okay.
Oh, one more time.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Pursuant to the attached Keller Williams addendum, $250 paid by seller to Keller Williams Realty Exclusive Properties for file archiving fee payable through close of escrow. It's important that your sellers know this. When I start talking about our purchase template, it's even more important that it goes on to the RPA. Because as you all know, your listing contract never goes to escrow. It's the purchase contract that goes to escrow. I have it here in our listing just so our sellers are all knowing about what's going on. And go to your page 2 of your RLA, and where it says multiple listing service, broker is a participant subscriber to CSMAOR hyphen or dash flex MLS. That's the name of our multiple listing service. CSMAOR, Conejo Simi Moore Park Association of Realtors, Flex MLS. Okay. You can also put in your 2.5%, which, because we are not a discount brokerage firm, we always offer the selling office 2.5%. Again, the information that I'm putting in my template never changes.
What page is that?
This is, I think we're
One of
on
five.
page 1.
Okay.
So page 1 is where you can put in the percentage. You can also add, if you are consistent about the percent that you charge, we typically will charge 5%. You also want to add in the within 180 calendar days. Typically, all of our listings are 6-month listings. The other information I have in here is our standard verbiage for most contracts. You don't have to do this. It's entirely up to you. So, just as well, now, you guys are in your template, right?
Mhm.
You're all in your template?
Mhm.
Okay. So don't worry about this. Just retain it for future reference. When you're in a transaction, you do in fact need to hit the save button. Okay? There is no save button in a template, but in a transaction, there is a save. It is a very archaic looking floppy disk. I'm not sure when they're going to change that. And I'm going to go into my listing template because I've noticed a couple of things that I have changed. So into my RLA, I noticed that for some reason, okay, well, that box is checked in my template, but it wasn't check marked in my transaction. So there's a glitch. Some things don't all get checked. Yeah, Kate?
So also the KW addendum, you would also put that somewhere on your listing agreement, right?
Yeah, well, because I have that, you know, that everybody's to pay the $250, right? So the KW addendum goes with the listing agreement when we take a listing.
So would you-
all those papers go together.
So because you pointed it out, would you put somewhere KW addendum?
Is included, let's
Yeah.
see, is there a place to do that? So here you see the CSMAOR, let's
Just so
go
it's then
down
part of
to,
that listing agreement also.
okay, here's something else in my listing template that I have on page, where are we at? On page 3, and I'll get back with you, Kate.
Okay.
On page 3 of your residential listing agreement, within your template, you want to, as a rule, most properties within Simi Valley that, you know, we are dealing with have HOAs. So I have this box checkmarked because I just want that to be checkmarked. Other, natural hazard zone disclosure report and preliminary title report. This is what we're saying, seller agrees within so many days of the beginning date of this agreement to pay for the following pre-sale reports. No, I don't collect money from my seller within 5 days. I just want to make sure that they know these are seller costs.
What page is that again?
This is page 2 of the RLA. So homeowners association, check mark the box other, natural hazard zone disclosure report, and preliminary title report. Also, the agency disclosure, that box I believe is checkmarked on its own. Possible representation of more than one buyer or seller, that is automatically checkmarked. So I don't see a box, Kate, where I can add like Keller Williams addendum. So this is where I'm doing that basically. Pursuant to the attached Keller Williams addendum, $250 paid by seller to Keller Williams.
Okay.
So that is essentially
Stating
the
that it's
equivalent of a
attached.
box that says Keller Williams is Keller Williams addendum attached, exactly. So we've got all that. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. So that is all. I also reiterate the verbiage in the seller's advisory. You may or may not wish to do this. It's entirely up to you. Again, it's just for me wanting to make sure that our sellers know beyond the shadow of a doubt that this is what's going to happen. So I put it within the body of the RLA itself and also within the seller's advisory under other items, page 2, paragraph 5. And those are the only other changes I do in my template. So very, very weird, little glitchy. You can see this box is check marked, the commission box. That box is check marked, and so is the 5% check marked up here. But when I applied this template, those boxes were not check marked. So you'll get to know, through repetition, the glitches that happen through ZipForms and that you just have to be prepared to deal with. So, any questions on our templates for listings? Anybody? Again, your information from your cover sheet auto-populates to your agency disclosure. And all of this information is the same regardless of the transaction. Again, we're in templates, so there is no place to save anything. We go back, and we are still here in our template. And I think that's it for today. Any questions from anybody? Feel free to give me a buzz.
Can you go
shoot
back
me
to
an
the
email.
one where it was the cancellation?
Which one?
Where you had, the
Cancellation.
seller can cancel
Oh,
on page, what was
Yeah.
it, page 1 or
page
whatever?
1 in our other terms, yeah. So,
Okay.
seller may unconditionally cancel this agreement at any time. Robert feels that if somebody decides they don't like working with him, no harm, no foul, we will let you out of your contract. You don't owe us anything. Yes, we have had people cancel, and we have spent $1,000 on photographs and flyers and all sorts of stuff, and we do not collect it from them because he feels that that is not going to breed any sort of goodwill between anyone. If they're not happy with the job we're doing, they're not happy with our photographs, they're not happy with our flyers, they should not have to pay for them. That is our particular way of doing business. And he's done that. I've been with Robert for 12 years, and we have always had that clause in our contracts. Yeah, Fred?
Do you know if the templates from here can be transferred to the standard offline version, the desktop version?
Good question. I do not know. That would probably be a Carr question. You can give Carr a call. I mean, I only use the online version, so I didn't know they were even supporting the offline version.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
I use it most of the time because we just feel convenient.
Right, right. Yeah.
I
I
will
mean, you
find-
can
I will
always
find
do a
it.
test. You can test it yourself, see if it works on the offline version. I mean, if everything else is working the way this does, I would hazard a guess that it probably is.
Yeah. It gets updated every
Right.
so often. And
Yeah.
you know if the templates are
Right,
transferred.
right, yeah, or give them a call, and let them know your specific particulars.
Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. We typically drop the commission by 1% if we represent both sides. So that's what this means. Commission to be reduced by 1% if I sell this home myself. That basically means that we will sell the home for 2 and 2 if we represent the buyer. If we bring the buyer, it's the equivalent of dual agency, double siding a transaction, we'll reduce the commission by 1%.
However,
Yes?
you're an agent, you still owe the office.
Well, it's based on 2%. Yeah, 2%. Yeah, exactly. So, unless you capped. And you should all be capping. You should all be capping. So.
You're so lucky to double.
It's a double-edged sword though, Eric, when you do that, because dual agency can get you into trouble. Dual agency is a double-edged sword. When you have both the buyer and the seller, you're dual agent, and there's been lots of issues about that. So, I think we're all done on this, so thanks guys for your attention, and Always, you know, if you have any questions, be sure to look me up.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good, you?